Do you want to learn effective ways to build relationships, generate sales, and grow your business from successful entrepreneurs, startups, and CEOs without listening to a long interview? If so, you've come to the right place. Gresham Harkless values your time and is ready to share with you precisely the information you're in search of. This is the I Am CEO podcast.
Hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Ellis Hammond of EllisHammond.com. Ellis, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Yeah, man. So excited to be here. Thanks for having me on. Really excited.
Yeah, no problem. Super excited to have you on. And what I wanted to do before we got started was read a little bit more about Ellis so you can hear about all the awesome things that he's doing. And Ellis is the founder of EllisHammond.com, and he is an experienced real estate investor. He manages a private network of investors that focuses on acquiring multifamily commercial real estate assets. He began syndicating real estate projects in 2018 with the goal of helping his friends and colleagues build wealth and create passive cash flow outside of Wall Street. Ellis is also the director of a local Christian nonprofit focused on spiritual formation and leadership development for college students in San Diego, California. Ellis, are you ready to speak to the I Am CEO community?
Yes, man, waiting for this. Let's get it.
All right, let's do it. So to kick everything off, I wanted to hear a little bit more about what I call your CEO story and what led you to start your business.
Yeah, it's funny when we were on this call a couple of weeks ago and you said that most, people who are starting their own businesses, especially in our generation, it really comes out of a need you see in your community. And I think that's exactly my story, is that I wanted a better way to invest. My dad actually passed away when I was 21. Oh, wow. And, he was a business owner and entrepreneur, both him and my mom, and he had left my brother a little bit of money, nothing that was life-changing, but enough that we said, hey, we should do something with these funds. But unfortunately, I didn't have any financial education. I didn't really know how to go and build wealth. And so I did the traditional route of, hey, I want to go get a financial advisor and I'm going to put this away. And so I was just kind of given the standard options of mutual funds and, kind of spreading it out here. And the plan was, when you're 65 one day, hopefully you'll have a big enough lump sum and you can use this money. And, my bio is a Christian nonprofit, and that just really never set well with me. And I think as a millennial, maybe we're just seeing that there's a better way to do things. Like, we want to see impact now and not when we're 65. And that also should include our finances. And so, I don't know, it just kind of began to stir in me a way to go look for better ways to build wealth. And so I really found that through real estate. And we can get in why that is, but really that's my story. Is I just, the idea of let's build a big enough nest egg that one day that I can kind of live off of. It's a broken system, man. And it really was something that was set up decades ago, not really to benefit the retiree, but to really benefit the system or the government. And so I think it was my story that really led me to kind of think outside the box.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. And sorry, of course, that, hear about your father. But I know that, just as you kind of touched on, is that, money definitely obviously does help, but that education, that knowledge is huge. And I think when we talked offline a couple of weeks ago, we were just talking about how sometimes you don't know about anything until you get exposure to it. So that's why I appreciate, everything that you're doing, because there are many people that might be listening to this as well, too, that don't know about those different opportunities and different ways to build revenue, and think that there is still that only one way. But it's by, you doing what you're doing, and, books, and creating so much information out there that creates that exposure so that people are empowered to kind of do a quote unquote different way to be able to develop wealth. So I know you touched on it a little bit, wanted to drill a little bit deeper here, what exactly you're doing, for these clients. Tell us a little bit more on why, that real estate investment is a good opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'd love to. So essentially what we target on is we go and buy commercial real estate, mostly apartment complexes is what we're focused on. And there's a couple of reasons we do that. If I can explain this really simply, there's a difference between residential and commercial. And residential, as most people are familiar with, the way that residential is valued is based on it's like a comparative analysis. So what, Aunt Bessie's house down the street is worth, and what, your friend Joe's house is worth, kind of the market really determines the value of your property. So there really is a cap to how much, no matter how much work you do to your property, no matter how much income that property is bringing, let's say if you're renting it out, it's only going to be worth kind of the comparative set that's on your block. Commercial is really different once you get above 5 units, and that the value of the property is now based on its income. Mm-hmm. And so that's really powerful, and why I like investing in commercial assets, because now we can go and do things to the property in order to increase the value. And so we can increase the equity that we have in that property much faster in a commercial asset than we do in a single family. And, there are, most people don't they stay within that 1 to 4 units because they don't think, or they don't have the experience, they don't have the knowledge to do commercial real estate. And that's true, right? Like, there are a lot of moving parts in that thing. So the real value that I'm trying to bring kind of to my generation is this thing called a syndication. And essentially a syndication is pulling together a group of investors, which for me has just been my personal network of friends and colleagues. And I'll take those group of investors and I'll go find a really good operator who is boots on the ground in a really good market. And essentially, I just take that group of investors and a management team and really bring that together so that we can take advantage of the benefits of a larger asset with limited risks, while also kind of leveraging the expertise of other people in the market. So I hope that was simple enough, but that's essentially kind of what we're doing. I'm providing passive investment opportunities for my friends and colleagues who want to be in real estate, but don't have the time, because just like the CEO Nation, I mean, the thing I tell guys all the time is, okay, yes, most people, when they come to me, they're ready to be in real estate. They see the benefits of it. They've been studying it. They know why it's beneficial. They see why commercial is probably a better, real estate investment than like a single family home. But they got their business, man. Yeah. Like they're 60, 70 hours a week in their business, and they're crushing it and they love it. Just like you and I, they're inspired by it because it's what led them to maybe quit their day job and become a CEO. So I don't want them to quit doing that. I just want to say, hey, instead of kind of putting your money into a 401k or an IRA and not really seeing it for 40 years, why don't you take 40, 50K of that a year and put that into something that's going to dish off cash flow and give you even more time to do the things that you love. So that's really what I'm passionate about, is giving people time. Because, I didn't even talk about this. It's about cash flow, man. The reason I like real estate, it's going to appreciate over time, but it's kicking off cash flow to you every single quarter, which eventually, if you're doing this consistently, is going to give you the thing that we all need the most, is more time.
Right. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. And I think that, and I love, how you kind of talked about it. And this is just, what I hear, when you were explaining it, and especially, hearing your bio and reading your bio, is that a lot of people will invest in stocks because you can invest in General Mills. You don't have to go run General Mills and do it on a day-to-day basis. But when you're thinking about, investing in real estate, you're like, okay, well, I don't know how to use a hammer. I don't even know what nail goes where. But in reality, there's a different opportunity because, like you said, you can syndicate it where you are a group of people, it sounds like, that are investing in a specific property. And then you have a manager that actually does and does know where the hammer goes, the nail goes, and you can actually invest into that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's passive investing, and people might say, well, how's that different from being in the stock market? Well, it's very different. First, you actually are an owner of real estate. Like, you get to take advantage of all the benefits of real estate. The depreciation expense that we get to write off, that goes to the investor, right? The cash flow, the upside, all of those things is just as if you own, your own single family or your own duplex. It's just like you own a share in this piece of real estate. The nice thing is, though, is your liability on this project is limited to the amount of money that you have into the project. So if you invest 100K, you're only going to lose 100K. And if you go to the bank to take out a loan, and let's say you want to buy your own house, you're not taking on the debt of this $10 million project either, right? So there's some huge benefits in just using this as an opportunity to grow your wealth, but also, like I said, receive more passive income. Because that's why, we're talking about as a real estate, as an investment opportunity, but man, what we want as CEOs is more time, right? Like, that's what we're working for, is more time to either do more in the business that we love or spend time with our family, or mostly, the reason why I got into it is because I wanted to grow my impact. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want that impact to wait till I was 65, right? Like, I wanted, income coming in that we could use in order to support the things that my wife and I were passionate about. And so that's what I'm trying to help people understand, man, is like, just begin to think differently about your investments, because you spend so much of your life trying to make an impact. But it's like we almost kind of separate our finances from that. It's like, I'm going to use my life and I'm going to make this or whatever, but my finances is something for later. I'm like, it just doesn't have to be that way. That's something I think we've been taught or we've seen our parents do. And I just think I have to say our parents got it wrong, And I mean, I can say that from my own, maybe I don't speak for everybody, but my dad did, my mom did, and I'm still kind of recovering from that. And so just trying to maybe preach a different story to help people get more time back and really do the things that they love.
Yeah. Well, I think the big point is that, the world has changed tremendously too. And I think we saw this a little bit in 2008 and 2009, where, the ability to go and work at a job for, let's just say 40 years and then to get a pension and all those things and be set up for the rest of your life is not necessarily always the case as much as it has been, or if at all, I don't know, depending on, different organizations. But I think that, like we kind of talked about offline, exposure to different opportunities may not have been as ample as they are now with the internet and with all this technology that we are able to, hop on a podcast and talk about these different opportunities, whereas years ago may not have been able to do that. So I definitely appreciate you for fighting the good fight and spreading the word about different opportunities. And I wanted to ask you for what I call your secret sauce. And this might be for you or might be for your organization, but what do you feel kind of sets you apart and makes you unique?
Yeah, that's so good. It's funny you call it secret sauce. I call it my superpower.
Okay, that'll work.
But I think it's the same thing, and this is what I tell people all the time. It's like, it's you got to do what you're the best at. And when you learn what that is, who you are. Because I think most people start backwards. They think about what do I do, and it's like, no, who you are, and then who do you serve is really the first two questions before what you do for them. And so. For me, man, God has really given me the ability to connect with people, to really build community. And so my secret sauce is really connecting with people and really trying to build a community that wants to live for something much bigger.
I wanted to hear some a CEO hack that you have. So this could be like an Apple book or a habit that you have, but what's something that you feel makes you more effective and efficient?
Yeah, LinkedIn, man. If you're not on LinkedIn, like that's my bread and butter. And it doesn't have to be too complicated, right? I tell folks, when I'm kind of coaching them about how to use LinkedIn, your bio is really important, having a good headshot, really making it look professional. And most people are just going to go in there and put their resume in. It's like, no, like that's a terrible thing to do in your bio. Go in there and think about who your ideal client is. Like, again, who do you serve? And, you could start with who you are, but always be thinking, who am I that serves somebody else, right? So yeah, I'm a real estate investor. I've done this, but why does that matter to the person that's reading? And so that's really important to have a good bio. And you could check mine out as an example.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely huge. And I think that's definitely, one of the biggest things, because I think a lot of times when you create content, you want people to like it, you want people to engage with it, you want people to put a comment there. So if you're the one that's doing that, it creates that opportunity, because that's what everybody wants. They want, when they put something out, for you to get that engagement, for people to like it or not like it or something like that. Some people may not say that, but that's usually what we're trying to do. So when you're that person doing that, that helps you to build that connection. Now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. And this is like a word of wisdom or a piece of advice, or if you can hop into a time machine, what would you tell your younger business self?
It's funny, man, because I just, I still get to work with a nonprofit. So I'm constantly sitting down with young guys and just, sharing these nuggets, sharing what I wish I'd have known at 19 or 20. And I mean, the first thing for me is that, and I hope, thankfully, someone did share this with me at 19, but the biggest question that anybody can ask is, who are you, right? Who are you? What is your identity? For me, as a man of faith, man, I'm a child of God. Like, and that is my foundation. So I'll say that is the most important question to start with. But after that, when I think about the CEO and the business side of things, even though those are, for me, those come together, but it's learn how to invest in real estate, right? Like that. I mean, that's what I would have done at 19 is like, hey, learn. It's about passive income. It's about cash flow. It's about getting time back.
Yeah, well, I definitely appreciate that. I think that's a great knowledge. And, because if you do trade time for money, you're always going to be on that treadmill. You're never, ever going to go over. So that makes perfect sense. And so now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on this show. So what does being a CEO mean to you?
being a CEO means that you are the head servant of whoever you serve. That's what I've been doing, man. I've, in the nonprofit world, like it has been my job to really be a servant on the college campus, really trying to help, essentially kind of set up college students for the next phase of life. And so I think as a CEO, that's got to be your mindset, is that the reason you're doing this company is because you have a product, you have a service that is benefiting the lives of others. So to be a great CEO is, it's to really be a servant of others, man.
Exactly. And it puts the emphasis away from you and what you build into what, is of importance to the target market that you have or the people that you're trying to serve. So I think that's an incredible perspective. And Ellis, I truly appreciate your time and all the awesome things you're doing. I wanted to pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know, and of course, how they can get a hold of you.
If you want to interact with me, my website is ellishammond.com. There's some great articles and resources. If you're trying to, you're interested about real estate investing, you want to join our community, that would be a great place to go. And I can, shoot me an email there and I can send you some more resources. So LinkedIn.com or LinkedIn, you can find my profile, Ellis Hammond, or ellishammond.com is a great place to connect.
Awesome. We'll have those links in the show notes as well, just so that anybody can click through and follow up with you. But I appreciate you, my friend. Appreciate all the awesome things you're doing. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you for listening to the I Am CEO podcast powered by Blue 16 Media. Tune in next time and visit us at IAM371.co. I Am CEO is not just a phrase, it's a community. Be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and everywhere you listen to podcasts. Subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating. Grab CEO gear at www.ceogear.co. This has been the I Am CEO podcast with Gresham Harkless. Thank you for listening.